random processes in me. So yeah, I think we can start.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
yeah. Don't think that this is a one-way talk. So I welcome all your questions, and I suggest you to watch the session as the critical and watch this critically, and yeah, all your questions and doubts can be clear at the end, right? Yeah, so the topic of today's session, it's an introduction to query theory and metrics analytic methods. So what I'm going to uh, present today is this. This is the outline of my presentation. Well, modeling of queues and why we model a queue and how to make a mathematical model of a queue. Uh, and that is the first part of this presentation. And then what are the important measures of a queuing system? And then I'd like to uh, present these ideas using n-moment queuing model. That is one of the basic queuing models. So illustration using n-moment queuing model. And then how to calculate the system state probabilities, especially what you mean by the transient solution and the steady state solutions. And there are certain kind of writing those the governing equations of the system. So what are the methods that we can adopt? Then what is the idea of metrics geometric methods? And that also will be explained using an illustration. And then finally, I'll just give an introduction to metrics analytic methods. All right, and then what are the research aspects of queuing theory? So this is what I'm going to present today. All right, so what is the scope of queuing models in our real world? Right, so these two terms, customer and service, these two are commonly used terms in our life, definitely. So if there is a server that offers a service to customers, so in any such situation occurs there, we can have a queuing model. Okay, so that is the basic idea behind this queue. And definitely, I think you all know what is a queue, right? We all, every day uh, we are facing certain queues, right? Even when we call, even when we make a phone call or something that we uh, for reservation and whatever we attend, there is a knowingly or unknowingly there is a queuing procedure, right? So this customer and service, these two are two colloquial words. Customer in the sense it can be anything. Okay, like phone calls, maybe we can consider a phone call as a customer, right? In a traffic signal, the arriving vehicles can be considered as a customer, and the traffic light can be considered as a server. So that means in many ways we can deal this. Okay, so certain examples uh, I have noted here: communication networks and traffic, computer networks in hospitals, air traffic, reliability, inventory, and there are various fields there we can see these queuing models, right? Okay, so from these examples, definitely it's very clear that queuing models, the study or the classical study of queuing model is inevitable. All right, so I move on to the classical approach of queuing models. All right, so uh, this is the basic example of a queue, right? There is a server we have. There is a server, and customers are there. Okay, they're waiting to get service from the server. Okay, this is a very simple model of a queue. Okay, so how can we mathematically model such a queue? And that's the first thing we have. All right. So yeah, so there is a Kendall's notation for queue, and this is the first classical and the basic, uh, the way that uh, we model this in mathematics. All right. So this is the notation that we have: A bar B bar C, then B bar E. In certain cases, there are D bar E bar F also. All right. And where the first uh, thing A that represents the arrival process. Okay. So that is a random process. Uh, and then this B shows the service time distribution. So there is a server, and that server offers a service. All right. Uh, okay. So that distribution, and what is that distribution here? And that is D. And C is the number of servers, and D the number of customers allowed in the system. In certain cases, that can be infinite. In certain cases, that can be finite. And E is a service discipline. That means how the server uh, accommodates the customers. All right. So these are the basic notion of a queuing procedure. So this much things are basic requirement of a queue, right? So one of the best and easy example of a queue we represent as n bar 1 infinity FIFO. This M indicates the arrival or service process is Markovian. And I think in yesterday's session, Professor Krishnamurthy sir have described what is a Markov chain and what is the idea of uh, Markovian model, and he showed certain examples also like Poisson process and even MMQ, right? So I don't want to discuss in detail, that basic part like the runtime process and all. Okay, so I move on to the queuing part, right? Okay, so this M denotes Markovian. So let's see what is Markovian. Yeah, so these are certain examples of different types of queues that M bar C, infinity FIFO. So arrival process has a Markovian property, and the service time distribution has a Markovian property. C is the number of servers there, and we call this as a multi-server queue. Infinity in the sense, there is no limit for the customers. Anybody at any time they can join the queue, and even the length of the queue can be infinite. Okay, so at any time anybody can join the queue. There is no restriction. And FIFO means first in first out, and that is what the service policy there. And then MG1 infinity FIFO, that means the arrival process is Markovian here, but the service and distribution is not Markovian. That follows a general probability distribution. Okay, so whenever you see a G in this, okay, then the problem becomes complicated. All right, because the general discipline in the sense, yeah, that uh, there is a limit to simplify that. Okay, so these are certain examples of queues, and moreover, there are other cases like bulk queues, like the arrival of customers can be bulk. Okay, service also, such queues are also there. Okay, anyway, these are some basic models I have shown here. We'll see what is a Markovian property. Markovian property, what we can call this is a memoryless property. And this one is really interesting because this is what the exact definition of Markovian property for a continuous random variable. Okay, here I have taken this example as a continuous random variable. So if X is a continuous random variable, so the definition seems to be mathematical, like P of X greater than T plus S given X greater than S is the same as P of X is greater than T. All right, so we can interpret. So what I believe is that, so in probability theory, uh, instead of writing all this concept, there is a very logical statement behind that. Once you understand that logical statement behind it, the probability theory is one of the beautiful mathematical subject, I would say. Yeah. So and here also, this one has got a very interesting explanation, and that is this. See, for example, if you think that the X is the lifetime of a person, okay, X is the lifetime of the person. So and if you put some values for S and T, for example, if I choose T is equal to 5 and S is equal to some 100, right? So that means the lifetime of a person exceeds 105 years. The simple mathematics. Okay, the lifetime of uh, a person exceeds 105 years, given that he has already lived for 100 years. Okay, and that's the same as the probability that he has a lifetime just greater than 5 years. That means, even living after 100 years, actually uh, basically he forgets all the you know back history, like whatever happened in the first 100 years. Okay, that means we say that in other way we can explain this in a way that the probability that a person lives for the first 5 years is the same as the probability that that person lives from 100 to 105 years. And that is what exactly that Markovian property means. When you hear that idea, probably you may be thinking that is it possible? Yeah, definitely certain cases it is not at all possible. It's a theoretical concept. But that idea makes all our problems simpler. Okay, so I believe that that is why first we focus on this kind of this property, because we don't need to carry all the back histories along with that.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Hello. Yes, sir.
Please wait. He will join soon. Some technical problem. Anup sir will join soon. Please wait in the Zoom.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. I
Okay,
put a
okay, okay.
Okay, 1 second. So, can you make me a co-host? Hello?
I'll make.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
All right. Hope you can see that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Maximize.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that okay? Yeah, fine. Okay, so we discussed about Markovian property, and so this why this Markovian assumption is the idea is very simple to make the modeling simple. All right. Okay. What are the performance measures of a queuing system? So why we analyze mathematically a queue, and that is the basic thing, right? One of the thing is that we need to find certain measures, okay, to monitor that to queue, or to reduce the length of the queue, or to reduce the waiting time of a customer. So these are the main aspect of that. So for that, certain classical performance measures are there. So I will list one by one here. So first is N of T, and that is the number of customers in the system at time T. All right. So and based on and we say that this N of T that forms a continuous time Markov chain. Okay. So yeah, that is the first basic thing that we have. Then, and this is the first performance measure based on this N of T. N of T here actually it works as a continuous time Markov chain. Okay, so we define Pn of T as the probability that N of T is equal to N. That means it is a probability that there are N customers in the system at time T. All right. And in the steady state means as N goes to infinity, that means that process is continuing. What happens, as time goes on. All right. So then it reaches steady state, and in that steady state, the probability that there are n customers in the system, and that is this Pn. All right. And steady state, saying just a steady state is not good, provided such a steady state, if we are sure that such a steady state exists, then only we can define such a probability. Okay. So you know as this is just an illustration, we assume such things are there, such restrictions, such conditions are there already. So we assume that such steady state exists, then only we can define this one, Pn. All right. And this is one of the other one, this Wq uh, of T, and we say that that is the probability that the waiting time of a customer in the queue is less than T. Okay, and that is one of the important things, right? Every time when we analyze a queue, and this is one of the prime factors that we need to think, right? However, reduce the waiting time of a customer, and how is it possible? What are the measures to be taken? Okay, and average number of customers in the queue, at the same time average number of customers in the system. Okay, and another thing is that average waiting time of the customer in queue as well as in the system. And then what is the probability that the queue length is 0? And the queue length is 0 means there is no one to be served, to get served, right? So that means that's a free system. So an arriving customer can directly go into the server. Okay, so these are some of the thing, but there are a lot more, right? Lot more, and that depends on the situation. So what we need exactly to analyze, based on that, we have to model a queue, and how that performance measure be evaluated. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So first, let's see what is an MM1 queue. All right. Uh, So this is the problem. So first we define a problem and we model that mathematically and we solve it. Okay, so these are the three steps that involved in a problem. So here customers arrive to a service facility which offers service to only one customer. Okay, so a customer arrives to a service facility and there is a server, and that server can serve only one customer at a time. And that is the first assumption that we have. And second one, it takes a random time to serve a customer. Okay, uh, and that may not be always a fixed quantity, right? So for one person it takes some time, and for another person it may take more or less. That depends. Okay, so there is a randomness, so that service time is a random variable. Then when a customer is being served, all the arriving customers join the queue. Okay, uh, that means once joined they will wait there until get served. Okay, they won't leave the queue. An arriving customer won't leave the queue, and because of impatience they won't leave the queue. Okay, these are certain assumptions. Okay, that is how we define the SNO model. Okay, right. And here the service discipline is first come first served. Right, and the problem, and our aim is to find these performance measures, right? Such as average number of customers in the queue, average waiting time, how much time a customer has to wait only in queue, and how much time he has to wait in the entire system. So all these things has to be calculated. Okay, but before that, our prime target is to find the system state probabilities. For example, to model an MM1 we define N of T, N of T as the number of customers in the system. So we find the probability that Pn of T, and that is the first thing. Once we have that probability, almost 90% of the performance measures can be evaluated, and that is why we focus only on that. Okay, but in certain cases, when you model certain problems, it may not be possible to calculate those system state probabilities. Okay, in such cases, just realize what is the exact time thing that we need. There can be some way to evaluate only that one. Okay, certain methods or certain ideas that we have to use, that we have to check. That depends on the problem. Right, but in most of the cases, first we try to evaluate, the system state probabilities. Okay, and in almost all the classical textbook and all, most of the questions are like that. But in a real situation, when you model something, it may not be possible to obtain this system state probabilities. Then only you go what exactly you need and focus on that. Well, now we we make a mathematical model of this one. Yeah, so let's see how it works, right? So first, customers has to arrive to the system. All right, so there must be an arrival process. Okay, so arrival process, there are many arrival process are there. Even we can assume that that is a general process, whatever. But as this one is a basic model, we assume that the arrival follows a Poisson process. Okay, and that is a classical process. I think in the yesterday session also, all the ideas of Poisson process were discussed, right? So why we assume the Poisson process is another question. Okay, so in a Poisson process, there's a property that inter-arrival time. That means the duration between consecutive arrivals, and that is a random variable. Okay, for example, one person comes at 10 o'clock, the next person comes at 10:15, the third person may come at 10:20. So that inter-arrival time, and that is a random variable. And if you assume that the arrival process is Poisson, then this inter-arrival time follows an exponential distribution. So the interesting fact is that this exponential distribution has that Markovian property. All right, so we don't need to carry all the back history along with us. Okay, so to get an idea, to get you know for an initial point, it is always better to start with the Poisson process. All right, then definitely there are a lot other arrival process like Erlang, compound Poisson process, PH arrival. A lot are there. Well, then the service time, as I mentioned, the service time is again a random variable, and that is again we assume that that is an exponential distribution just because of this memoryless property of exponential distribution. All right, now we define, and this is what the basic idea. We define n of t as the number of customers at time t. All right, and that is what the basic parameter that we need to consider, n of t, and this n of t becomes a continuous time Markov chain. All right, this n of t becomes a continuous time Markov chain then. And once we define this n of t, now we can write the probability, Pn of t. We define Pn of t as the probability that there are n customers in the system at time t. Okay, and these probabilities are called the system state probability. All right. Okay, now we model this one first using a classical technique, differential difference equations. Okay, so it's a time dependent system because we have defined n of t and Pn of t, the probability that there are n customers at time t. So it depends on time. Okay, so if a process that depends on time, the first idea that we can go for, is differential equation. So there are certain assumptions of Poisson process. I just cited here. Probability of an arrival in an infinitesimally small interval. That means 0 to delta t. We define that as lambda times delta t. Okay, it's an assumption of Poisson process. So lambda delta t times order of delta t. This order of delta t means as t goes to 0, these values will be 0. Okay, so this one has got some special properties, order of delta t. Anyway, I'm not going to that in detail. And lambda delta t is the probability of an arrival in this interval. Then probability of a non-arrival. That means, in this interval, there is no arrival. And that probability is just the complement of that. It's 1 minus lambda delta of t. Then probability of a service completion. Probability of a service completion in this interval is mu delta of t, because mu is the service rate. Okay, so per unit, how many customers are served, and that value is given by mu. All right, and lambda is the arrival rate actually. That means per unit time, how many customers arrive into the system. All right, so the probability of a non-service completion is just 1 minus mu delta of t. All right, then these are the governing equations. Yeah, so what we think about this process is, think that we are at time t. Okay, we are at time t, and there is no customer in at that time, zero customer in the system at time t. Okay, and we consider t plus delta t. That means it's a very close time near t, right? Okay, so what happens in this small interval delta t, and that is what we think. Okay, so in this small interval, what happens? Okay, so there is no customer here, right? There is no customer here. Okay, so if we are in P1, if we are in the state 1, that means there is one customer in the system. There is a chance of a service, right? That one customer can be served, right? So from the state P1 of T, there can be the probability of a service, mu delta T. Then what happens is, after that service completion, the state reduces to P naught, right? Because after service completion, this one customer goes out of the system. So what happens is, then only uh, there will be zero customer in T plus delta T. Okay. And another point is that assume that we are in P naught of T. Okay. Already there is no customer at time T. The next time nothing happens. That means there is no arrival because service is not possible anyway because there is no customer. So there is no arrival also. Okay. And non-arrival, probability of a non-arrival is 1 minus lambda delta. Okay. And this is what the first equation that we have. That means if we are at time T, what happens for the next delta T time. All right. So these are the possibilities that we have. And let us generalize this one. Okay. So assume that there are n customers in the system. Assume that there are n customers in the system. So how to get such situations in T plus delta T? Okay. So if there are n minus 1 customers in the system, if there are n minus customers in the system at a time T, then there is a possibility of an arrival, right? So what happens is, when one customer arrives, this n minus 1 changes to n. Okay, then this is possible. So this is one of the possibilities. All these are mutually exclusive events. Okay, and next is that in the next, okay, already there are n customers in the system. So in the next delta t time, there is no arrival and no service. Okay, next instance there is no arrival and no service. So what happens is we will be in that state itself, Pn of T plus delta T at T plus delta T. All right. Now one more case is that if there are n plus 1 customers in the system and a service happens. Okay, in the next instance, if there is a service happens, what happens is this n plus 1 is decreased to n, right? So these are the three different mutually exclusive cases that we have, right? And this equation is true for all n greater than or equal to 1. That means we have, and this one is a difference. This one contains n minus 1 and Pn minus 1 of t and Pn of t and Pn plus 1 of t, right? So we have infinitely many equations like this, right? And this one is a boundary equation P naught of t plus delta t. And this is different because no service happens when there is zero customer in the system. So that case has to be dealt separately. Okay, all the other cases can be generalized using these equations. All right, hope you understand. Now, certain algebraic manipulations we are going to do, like you simplify all this, multiply and simplify, and you take this Pn of t to the left hand side, and you divide the whole equation by delta t, and you take the limit as delta t tends to 0. Then you will get the derivative, right? Okay, so the governing equations has a differential equation, and this is not a difficult part. Only very simple mathematical operations will lead you. The first equation reduces to this one: P naught dash of t is equal to minus lambda P naught of t plus mu P1 of t, and this is what the second equation reduces to: Pn dash of t. Yeah, this is what you will get for all n greater than or equal to 1. Now these two equations, these are difference equations, right? This one is a first order differential equation, but this is not a first order differential equation, but this is a difference equation too, right? This one has n plus 1, n and n minus 1, right? Now how can we solve this question? Once you solve this one, that is all the answer. Okay, so we have infinitely many such equations. So how can we find that Pn of t? And that is the simple idea that we have. Okay, but the fact is that solution of this system, it depends on t. This is not easy to find. Okay, definitely this is a hard problem, and but definitely there are solutions of this one using probability weighting functions. Okay, you can search for any of the classical textbook of queuing theory. Some huge expressions are there, and finally, yeah, they have obtained Pn of t as a function of t, and using probability generating function. So not easy to deal with, and therefore I also not focusing on that part, transient solution. Even the simplest case of queuing model is MM1Q. Okay, even for that problem, the transient solution is not easy. So you can, yeah, you can guess what happens if we take more complicated queuing problems. All right, but still that is a point of interest of many researchers. Yeah, so our focus just in this presentation, okay, is on steady state analysis, and we assume that such a steady state exists, and this N of t actually that forms a continuous time Markov chain. Therefore, certain assumptions or certain conditions has to be satisfied. Then only we can say that that steady state exists. But we assume, okay, we assume that that exists here, right? Okay, so. This is the first method. Okay, I'll show you certain simple ideas to write this steady state. Equation, governing equations. To write that governing equations, and this is the first idea. That means in the steady state means that does not depend on time. Okay, that process, that process goes on. Okay, goes on and goes on and goes on. And finally, what happens is that we can see that. But I'll tell you an example. What is the meaning of steady state? Uh, in a place, if an ATM machine is installed, okay, in the initial day, probably 1 or 2 persons will be there to cash. Uh, on the second day, people are getting knowing about this ATM, and people gradually more people will know about it. Okay, so in 1 or 2 or 3 months, okay, steadily that number of customers visiting every day, that will be increasing. But after 1 year, what happens is that almost everybody knows that there is an ATM in a particular place. So we can say that, okay, in an average every day only 100 people visit that ATM. Okay, so such a situation is there everywhere, right? Okay, that is idea of steady state. Okay, that is idea of steady state. So we assume that such a steady state exists here. Okay, but in steady state, it does not depend on time. Okay, mathematically that does not depend on time. So what happens is that this derivative becomes zero. If it does not depend on time, what happens is the derivative with respect to time becomes zero. Okay, then that equation reduces to the derivative part becomes zero. So we can write these equations. I think in the yesterday session also, when Murthy sir presented, he also showed these equations there. Okay, so this is what the equation lambda p naught is equal to mu p1. That is the first equation. Lambda pn minus 1 plus mu pn plus 1 is equal to this one. Okay, still this one has infinitely many equations, and this is only a difference equation. So using certain and all these equations are linear recurrence relations. So there are certain methods like, or simply by writing, we can write the solution of this one. And along with this, we have one more condition, that we call that condition as normalizing condition. That means the sum of the probabilities will always be 1. Okay, so along with this one, we can solve all these equations together. Okay, we solve it recursively. That means from the first equation we find p1, from the second equation you find p2, and substitute for p1 again. So you continue that process, and the sequence is obtained, and you can write the nth time of that sequence. It looks like this: 1 minus rho times rho to the power n. Pn is equal to 1 minus rho times rho to the power n. And this is what the probability of there are n customers in the system of an MM1Q in the steady state. And here this rho is equal to lambda by mu, and we call that as the traffic intensity. Okay, and using this normalizing condition, we can find p naught also, and when n is equal to 0, the p naught is equal to n as well. Okay, and this is the first equation. So here actually we have used the differential equation technique. Now to obtain the steady state, okay, one more thing, the stability condition. So every time such a system exists, and that is the first question. All right, does this solution exist for every value? Uh, no, actually, because this traffic intensity must be less than 1. Then only the solution exists. That means this rho is defined as lambda by mu. So lambda by mu must be less than 1. Okay. So lambda is the arrival rate and which is less than mu. Okay. So the arrival rate must be less than the service rate. Then only that system exists and that stationary or steady state solution exists. All right. Otherwise, what happens is that if the arrival rate is bigger than the service rate, you just think what happens. The length of the queue will be increases, right? That increases to infinity. That queue length will never decrease. So that is not a stable uh, system. It's an unstable system. Now, to obtain that equation, we can follow another technique, and that is transition diagram balance flow. All right, and this is what the system. We mark the system states here: 0, 1, 2, etc., up to infinity. Okay, so when there is zero customer in the system, what happens is there can be an arrival with rate lambda. Okay, so with rate lambda, the person arrives and the system states now is 1. And if there is only one person in the system, and then there are two situations. One is there can be an arrival lambda, okay, then that system state changes from 1 to 2, okay. Or if there is one person, there can be a possibility of a service with rate mu, okay. So once this person gets service, he goes out of the system and the system state reduces from 1 to 0, okay. Similarly, in all the states, we can have these transitions, okay. Transition flow diagram we can draw, and this is the easiest one, as this one is of MMM model. All right, from this one we can write the steady state idea. Okay, this is the idea. At each node, the total inflow is equal to the total outflow in the steady state. Okay, the steady state total inflow must be equal to the total outflow. Let's see. In the first case, 0. Inflow is this P1 times mu. That is the inflow. P1. P1 is the probability that there are n customers in the system and there is a service happens. So P1 times mu is equal to, then an arrival happens from 0. That's outflow. So P0 times lambda, and those two must be equal. So lambda times P0, which is equal to mu times P1. Right? So the same thing we can do at 1 or in general at n. Okay, in n actually two arrivals there, right? From n plus 1 there is an arrival. For n minus 1 there is an arrival, lambda times Pn minus 1. Or from n plus 1 there is a service. Okay, that's the inflow to n, and the outflow from n is Pn of t times mu, Pn of t times mu, and Pn of t times lambda. An arrival happens when there are n customers. So that is lambda plus mu times Pn. Okay, so using these kind of transition diagrams, again we can write the balanced equation, and this is the equation actually we got in the previous equation. So definitely once we get such an equation, uh, we solve it recursively using the same idea, and you will get the same result here, right? And here the stability condition is again the same, lambda minus mu, which is less than 1. Okay. Okay. And the third method, that's what we need. Actually, that is using the generator matrix. Okay. So n of t is a continuous time Markov chain, as I mentioned before. Therefore, there exists a generator matrix for every continuous time Markov chain. There exists a generator matrix Q corresponds to that chain. All right. And here, this is what the generator matrix of Q. Actually, this is obtained by that governing equations. Okay, when we write, actually, as I told you, we have infinitely many different equations. Okay, when we write that as a matrix form, this is what you will get. Okay, so also there are certain mathematical definitions of this one to generate matrix. Okay, anyway, I just avoid those theoretical concepts here. I just write the generator matrix here. And one of the properties of the generator matrix is the row sum must be equal to 0. The row sum must be equal to 0. Okay, and the first row, we denote this as 0, and that is a state 0. Okay, there is 0 customer in the system, and here it's 1. There is 1 customer in the system, 2 customers in the system, like that. And on top again, we have to write 0, 1, 2, and so on. Okay, so from 0, the transition is from 0 to 1, there's a transition, and that is by an arrival. So here we write the rate lambda. Okay, and that is the only thing happens when there is 0 customer in the system. Okay, because there is no service. Okay, so this point 0, 0 point here, we write the negative of lambda. Okay, at the same time at 1, when there are 1 customer in the system, there can be one arrival, so that moves to 2. That moves to 2 with a rate lambda, and if there is 1 customer with a rate mu, it's a possibility that that goes to 0, right? So what's a rate that that still be there in the same state 1, and that is the negative of sum of these two, so that the sum will be 0. So similarly, we can write it, and this is what the generator matrix. All right. Okay. So once we have this matrix, you just look at this matrix, and you can see that this one has got a tridiagonal structure. Okay, there is a diagonal entries here. On the right side, we have certain elements, and just below that, we have some elements. So this one has got a tridiagonal structure, and we try to find the probabilities. Again, the system state probabilities P0, P1, P2. Okay, and in matrix form, we write this equation as PQ is equal to 0. All right, and then sigma P is equal to 1. Okay, so normalizing condition, total probability must be equal to 1. All right, so here again we have the stability condition. Just looking at this graph, it's clear that from each state, uh, one state, either it can be increased by 1 or it can be decreased by 1, right? Increased by 1 by an arrival, or decreased by 1 by a service, right? So that is why this one has got a tridiagonal structure. All right, and we say that the right move from 0 to 1, then 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, then 3 to 4, and that is the right move, right? So the rate of movement to the right, and that is what this element is lambda, that must be less than the rate of movement to the left from the generator matrix. It's an intuition that the right drift must be less than the left drift. If the right drift that goes on, what happens is the number of customers increases, and that becomes unstable. Okay, so always a solution exists when the right drift must be less than the rate of the right drift must be less than the rate of the left drift. Okay, and that is what the stability condition intuitionally. All right, yeah. So, and we call this as all right. We call this as a birth-death process. This one is a birth-death process because there is a birth by an arrival, there is a death by a service. Okay, so this one is a classical birth-death process. Okay, so yeah. Okay. Next, and that is okay. So we have seen so far 3 different methods to write the governing equations. One is using differential equations. The other is by using the diagram, the transition diagram, the flow diagram, and the third one is by generator matrix. The generator matrix idea, and we need to focus on that, okay, because we are going to check how much it is possible using computers to find the solution of such systems, okay, using algorithms or something like that, and that is what I'm going to focus here. Okay, so right now, though there are many ways to write this generator, this governing equations. Okay, preferably we focus on that generator matrix idea. Okay, in most of the researchers, that is what the the common thing that people follow, researchers follow. Okay, the reason I will tell you at last. All right. So, what is matrix geometric method? Okay. So, from MMN model, a research aspect. I'm introducing this one just for uh, probably this topic may not be there in the usual queuing theory textbook. But this is the research aspect. Okay, the basic queuing theory textbook, this topic will not be there. Matrix geometric or matrix analytic method won't be there. All right. Okay. So, yeah. So, I'm introducing a problem, and that is MM1 with service vacations. Okay, the same MM1 structure with a little bit more idea. I'm going to include that with service vacations. Okay, and this is idea. First, let me define the problem. Customers arrive to a service facility which offers service to only one customer at a time, as in the previous case, MMN model, the same idea. It takes a random time to serve the customer. The server takes random time, same idea. And this is the additional input that I give. Okay. And this idea says that the service facility goes for a break. Okay. And we call that as a vacation, irrespective of whether he is busy or not. That means even when he is serving a customer, still he can go for a vacation. Okay. And he rejoins after a random time. Okay. And yeah, and that is what he do. And if there is no customer, still he takes a break. Okay, still he takes a break, and that is how I input a condition on that. Okay, so during a service vacation, that means when that server goes for a vacation, a customer in service, okay, if there was one, and he has to wait until the service completes, he will not go. Okay, he will not go due to impatience from the system. Still, he's a person with high level of patience, so he waits there. Okay, that is how I model that. Okay, when a customer is being served or during service vacation, all the arriving customers. So there are two cases. When he goes for a break, okay, still there can be customer. Okay, uh, or there will not be a customer. In any case, arriving customer joins the queue, whatever be the situation. Even he comes to the system and he sees that there is no person to serve. Still, he joins the queue. He is that much urgency to have that service, and there is no other alternative. So he has to join the system. All right. Okay, and the service discipline is as usual, first come first served. All right, and that is what the problem. Hope you understand the idea. And the thing is that the server takes a break. Okay, so our aim is, yeah, as usual, we need to find the performance measures such as the average number of customers in queue, the waiting time, and so on. So how much is the waiting time for a customer, and can we reduce the waiting customer? So what measures has to be taken to reduce the waiting time of a customer? So is there any problem that the server goes for a break? Okay, so such things have to be analyzed. All right, so definitely the prime target is that the system state probabilities. Okay, once we have the system state probabilities, almost all the performance measures can be obtained using that. Okay, so I define a mathematical model here. As usual, the arrival process, so that I assume that it's Poisson, so that it makes simpler. All right, Poisson with rate lambda, and service time. still I hug, that Markovian property. So definitely, I don't want to get away from exponential distributions. So assume that the service time distribution is exponential. Not only that, the vacation time. When he goes for a vacation, he rejoins after a time, and that time is not deterministic. Okay, that is again random. Okay, he may rejoin after 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Okay, so that is again a random variable. So again, I assume that even that random uh, time is again follows an exponential distribution with rate alpha. All right. Okay, and I define n of t as the number of customers at time t. Okay, and to model this system, uh, only n of t. I mean, n of t is not only. I mean, that is not the thing. That is not the only thing we need to consider, but we have to consider the status of the server also at time t. Okay, so we define the status of the server as 0 or 1. 0 means that is off state. That means he's on vacation. That server is on vacation. That means there is right now there is no server available, and that is what the 0 means. And 1 is on. That means active. He's there. Okay, so I have to consider this state also. Okay, so these two have to be there. Number of customers has to be considered. At the same time, the status of the server also has to be considered, right? So I write that again. Yeah, that forms again a continuous time Markov chain. I, I write that as n of t, s of t. Okay, n of t and s of t. All right. N of t and s of t. All right. Okay. Uh, yeah. So n of t, s of t forms a continuous time Markov chain, and these are the states. When there is 0 customer, the status of the server is 0. So 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, then 1, 0, 1, 1, 2, 0, 2, 1, 3, 0, 3, 1, and so on. So these are the states of the system. Okay. So based on the system, uh, I define the probability as Pij. That means when there are I customers in the system, and when the status of the system is j, okay, I define that as a Pij. So Pij gives you the probability that there are I customers at time t, and the state of the server is j. Okay, so we can say that it's two-dimensional process. It is a two-dimensional process. All right. So how to write the generator matrix of this one? Okay, though there are certain other techniques like the differential equation method can be used, or the flow and the flow diagram can be used, but I would say the generator matrix method is more easy. Okay, because first what we need to do is we need to write all these states here on top and here 0 0 0 0, then like that, and you think from here 0 0, and from 0 0 to what state we can move. Okay, to what state we can move. So when there are 0 customers and server is of the off server is in the off stage, then an arrival can happen, right? Because there is no service, an arrival can happen. So 0 0 to 1 0 is possible with an arrival rate lambda. Okay, and when the server becomes idle, and still he can take a vacation. Okay, uh, I mean it's already in vacation, so he can rejoin. So what happens is that that 0 changes to 1. So 0 0 to 0 1 is also possible with the rate alpha. Okay, and yeah, this s1, that is easy because that is going to be negative of alpha plus lambda, because the also must be 0, right? So that s1, that can be calculated. uh, Similarly, from 0 1, an arrival can happen, so it changes to 1 1. So 0 1 to 0 0, that means he is in the on stage to off stage with rate alpha. Okay, so from 1 0, similarly it goes to 2 0, 1 0 to 1 1, right? 1 0 to service will not be happen because there is no server here. He's on vacation right now, so service does not happen. Even if there is a customer, the service completion will not happen here because the server is not here, right? But at 1 1, a service completion is possible. 1 1, a service completion, because a server is there, right? A service completion is possible. So from 1 1 to 0 1, it's mu. Then 1 1 to 1 0, it's alpha. Then it's lambda. So like that, we can write all the rate transitions, okay, of this one. And it's a huge matrix. It's an infinite matrix. So sometimes we call it as an infinitesimal generator of the continuous time Markov chain. All right. Now, what we do is, and this is kind of interesting, that we partition this matrix into blocks. We partition this matrix into blocks. So what we do is, we take this one as a 2 by 2 block, okay, 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1, and that is one block. And then 0 0 0 1 and 1 0 1 1, that is another block. Okay. I don't have anything to write over here. I don't have the facility, so please excuse me. And from 1 0 to 1 1, I mean, from here there is a service completion. So here we can have a block matrix here. That means 0 0 0 name, and that is one of the matrix here. And then this matrix here, and here we have a matrix. Similarly, we can block a partition this matrix. All right. So once we block partition, this is what you will get. And that structure is interesting. Okay. This SI is the set, yeah, such that the row sum is 0. All right. Look at it. Block matrix form of Q. And this is what you will get. Okay. So we have a B0, it's a 2 by 2 matrix. A0, it's a 2 by 2 matrix. Then A2, A1, A0, A2, A1, A0. And the same block matrices will be continued. Okay, this again you can see that this one, all these matrices are of order 2. Okay, and it's a block tridiagonal form. It's a block tridiagonal form. Okay, in MM1Q we have seen a tridiagonal form, and this one is not just single elements, but these are all 2 by 2 matrices. So it's a block tridiagonal form, right? Yeah. So then this process is called not just birth death process, but quasi birth death process, because these are it's a two-dimensional process, and all these matrices are these are not just elements, real numbers, but these are all matrices, 2 by 2 matrices, all these elements. Okay. Okay, so this is what the structure that we have, right? So how can we solve these kind of generated these kind of continuous time Markov chain? Okay, and that is a question for years. And yeah, our great persons have got certain algorithms and certain beautiful ideas using linear algebra and all, and probability, the aspects of probability and linear algebra, and they got a solution for that. I'm coming to that. So for the steady state solution, see, our discussion is only about steady state solution. Okay. So the steady state solution is that pi is equal to pi naught, pi 1, pi 2, etc. And each pi naught is a vector. Pi naught means, pi I means it's pi I 0 and pi I 1. Okay. Because at stage 0, at state 0, we have two, two more probabilities, right? When the server is at vacation, when the server is not on vacation, he is active. Okay, so that has to be considered. So generally, we can say that pi ij is the general probability, system state probability. But since this one is a matrix, all these elements are matrices. All these elements are matrices. We consider this again as vectors of R2. Okay, like pi naught, pi 1, and pi I is a vector in R2. Okay, that's what we consider. All right. And using the usual idea of continuous time Markov chain, uh, that pi, that stationary probability is obtained by pi q is equal to 0 and sigma pi I. This one is a column vector 1 1. That means pi I 0, pi I1 1 1. So when you add, actually you'll get the sum of this one. That means you have to add up all such probabilities and finally you'll get 1. Okay, normalizing in this. Okay, so we need to solve these equations. All right, and even in matrix form itself, when we write, and this is what the first condition that you will get, pi naught b naught plus pi 1 a2 is equal to 0, and that is the first equation. In the second equation, this is what you will get as an for all the n integer values greater than or equal to 1. All right. The question is, how can we solve this? Right? So here, the usual recursive procedure will not work because these are matrices, right? These are matrices and vectors, not just real numbers. So like you cannot write a naught to the right side. That is not possible because the invertibility of these matrices are crucial. So that also has to be considered. Okay. So so the theoretical aspect of how to find the solution of this one, I'm not going to explain here, but certain algorithms developed by Nodes, and that was the first such reported works by Nodes. And later, that algorithm was modified, again modified, just because of the computational complexity, it modified, and Leptoshy and Ramaswamy has also contributed a lot in finding the solution of such algorithm, solution of such kind of systems. All right, so I'll just only that algorithm here. Okay, the solution of such a system, still it is of this form: pi n is equal to pi naught times r to the power n. Okay, see, remember the probability that almost similar probability we got in case of MM1, right? Because Pn is equal to 1 minus rho naught, 1 minus rho, that's a constant, rho to the power n. The similar way we got a relation here also for the stationary probabilities. Pi n is equal to pi naught times r to the power n. The question is, what is r? Okay, what is r? And yeah, so a very interesting, beautiful proof is there. Probably it's a hard part, so I'm not included here. But I'll just tell you, this R is a solution of this quadratic matrix equation. Okay, R square A2 plus RA1 plus A naught is equal to 0. Okay, and again, it's a quadratic equation in terms of R, not easy as as the usual quadratic equation that we see. See, all these are matrices. So there is a very simple algorithm, iterative algorithm for, and this is a and even for this one, the computational complexity is high. Certain other algorithms are there, more speedy converging algorithms are available, but this is the first reported such book. Okay, so I have included the basic algorithm here, iterative algorithm. Very simple. From here, actually, you need to find R here. R is equal to minus A naught minus R2 A2 times A1 all to the power, A1 inverse. Okay. And here, actually, I forgot to write an n here. It's minus A naught minus Rn square A2 A1 inverse. R1 is equal to 0. You put R2 here, so this one will be R1 and R3 and R4. So you'll get a sequence of Rn, and that converges. That's a point. So to the required level of correction, we can find the probabilities here. So we can obtain that R matrix here. Okay, so this sequence of Rn converges, and we can find R that converges to the matrix R. All right. So once we get R, now the question is, we have to find pi naught also. Okay, this one is in terms of pi naught. So how to calculate pi naught? And there we can use the first equation: pi naught b naught plus pi 1 a2. Pi 1 is nothing but pi naught r from this equation equal to 0. And as this matrix R, we use the normalizing condition, and that simplifies like this: pi naught times 1 minus r all inverse times 1 is equal to 0. So we'll get a non-homogeneous system of linear equations. Okay, and you can solve it together, and you can find the values of pi naught. Pi naught is a 2 by 2 vector space, and solving these two non-homogeneous system of linear equation, you can find it out anyway. So that part is all right. So we get the value of pi naught. Once we get pi naught, R is obtained. You can calculate pi 1, pi 2, pi 3, all those probabilities. Okay, so this is the algorithm suggested by Newts. And then, and here is the idea. Thus, these kind of queuing systems are now computationally tractable, because it's enough to model such a situation, because we have this algorithm in certain cases to get the explicit exact solutions. When we solve for R, that R has certain interesting properties, okay, and that R has some nice structures. If R has some nice structures, definitely when you solve this one, you will get exact explicit equations for these steady state probabilities. Not always, but whatever be A naught, A1, and A naught. Okay, so you can obtain uh, numerical solutions also using this algorithm. Numerical solutions also, it is possible. Okay, uh, yeah. So yeah, so certain software packages are also available using this one for certain existing models, or we can write algorithms depending on the problems. Okay, you can write algorithms based on this one. You can write the algorithms. Any of the software are possible. Either you can write in R or MATLAB or Python. Any other programming language, you can write these algorithms, and the solution is easy. You will get it. Okay. Okay. And what is the stability condition now? Uh, as I've told you, in the MM1 case, there's a right drift and there's a left drift. On the right side, right drift based on an arrival, left drift based on a service completion, right? And in this case also, we have a tridiagonal structure. On the right side, we have a matrix A naught. Definitely, that A naught definitely depends on the arrival process. And then on the left side, we have an A2 matrix that again depends on the service thing. But directly we cannot write the rate of the right drift is less than the rate of left drift. That has to be the stability condition intuitionally. I'm not going to prove it exactly. Intuitionally, that has to be the stability. All right. So how can we get that? Okay. So because directly we cannot combine those two matrices. That is not possible. Uh, so here is the idea. The rate of uh, left drift, I mean, rate of right drift is theta times A times 1. 1 is a column vector just to take the sum of rows. Okay. Uh, yeah, theta A naught 1 is less than theta A2 1. Right? Where theta is theta naught theta 1, it's a stationary distribution of the process S of t. S of t is a separate process, right? Actually, we have seen two processes here. One is N of t and the other one is S of t. S of t means, that is a finite state process, because that has only two states, 0 and 1, off state and on state. Okay, so even that one forms a Markov chain. That one forms a Markov chain. That is a continuous time Markov chain. So we can write the generator matrix of that S of t itself. Okay, that S of t itself. And this is what the Markov chain of, this is what the generator matrix of that S of t. See, 0 is the off state and 1 is the on state. From off state, he can rejoin and the state becomes 1. So 0 to 1 transition is possible with rate alpha. The same time, 1 to 0 transition is also possible. That means the on state to off state transition is also possible, and that's alpha, right? And it's a finite matrix. It's 2 by 2 matrix, and these must be minus alpha, and this one also be minus alpha, so that the row sum is 0, right? So yeah, so this is what the generator matrix of this S of t, and we can find the stationary distribution of this matrix and that stationary distribution is theta. Okay, so we have to find the stationary distribution of S of t first. Once we get that stationary distribution, we will get the stability condition. All right. Okay, so and one more thing, this is the generator matrix of S of t, and simply uh, that is obtained by adding all these block matrices A2 plus A1 plus A0. You will get the same. You can check it out. We have already written that block diagonal form A2 A1 A0 A2 A1 A0, something like that. If you add A2 A1 A0, you will get this matrix. Okay, so you find the stationary probabilities of this one again using the same idea. Theta u is equal to 0 and theta 1 is equal to 1. I forgot to write that. There is a theta 1 is equal to 1 here. All right. So when you solve it, you will get theta. Yeah, when you solve it, you will get theta and substitute it here, and you will get the steady state condition. Okay. Yeah. So I have not done that here. I have just introduced that idea here. All right. So that is all about the stability condition. Okay. Yeah, so that is about a quasi birth and death processes. That means MMN model with an additional dimension that becomes, you'll get a tri-diagonal block matrix form. So to solve that, we have certain classical algorithms available. So using that, we can easily solve such kind of problems. All right. Now, and one more aspect. So, this process, as I've explained from this vacation problem onwards, this process is called matrix geometric solution. And the problems that the main idea is this, like, this pi n is equal to pi naught times r to the power n, right? So it looks like a geometric series, right? It looks like a geometric series. So you can relate that. That is why it is called, matrix geometric method. Okay. Yeah. So now a brief idea about matrix analytic method too. Okay, matrix analytic method, and that is uh, this matrix analytic method. It's again an algorithmic procedure, a classical method, and we use that method for the types of Q that has the structure mg1 structure. This mg1 structure means here the service time is general, okay, but arrival is okay. Arrival is Poisson or some arrival process that follows a Markovian property. Okay, but the service time is not Markovian. That is a general distribution. This G has got a general distribution. Okay, so this is not exponential. So there comes a problem, because since that Markovian property is missing, uh, these kind of problems are not so easy to deal with. Okay, not so easy to deal with. So as in the previous problem, we cannot say that the number of customers in the system at time t is a continuous time Markov chain. We cannot say that, and it is not. Okay, and it is not. But what we do is we define an embedded process. Embedded process in the sense, it's not like the number of customers at time t, but we define n of t as the number of customers leave behind at each departure epochs. That means, a customer arrives, customers are arriving and join the queue. One customer is getting serviced, and after the service completion, there is a point of time where this customer goes out, right? So that is a point. At that point, we count how many customers are there. Okay, and if we call the first departure time as t1, then the number of customers in the system at that time as n of t1. All right, n of t1. Then again, after the first customer leaves the system, now the second customer is with server, and he is getting served, and after a random time, that is not exponential. That's the problem. We don't know when it finishes. Okay, that depends on that general distribution. All right. So uh, so assume that T2 is the time where the second customer goes out of the system. And at that point of time, we measure or we count the number of customers in the system. Okay. So at each departure epochs, we count the number of customers in the system. Okay. So what we can say that that means that that time we discretize. Okay. That particular departure epochs that we discretize. Okay, so what happens is we discretize that one, and using the Markov chain, discrete time Markov chain, discrete state space and discrete time Markov chain, we analyze such a problem. I have not included any of the details of that here, just a structure of the generator matrix only here. Okay, so if we do such kind of ng1 type cube, this is what the structure that you will get. This is not the structure of ng1 cube, an ng1 type cube. That means this, if all these, if you consider all these bi and ai are real numbers, then that becomes the ng1 type q structure. Okay, but I've included all these are block matrices, so it's an ng1 type q. Okay, all these are block matrices, and here it's b0, b1, b2, b3, b4, etc., up to infinity. It goes like that. And here again, a0, a1, a2, etc. up to infinity. And the first one is a special case because that is a boundary state. Okay, boundary state, and all the other are the same. a0, a1, a2, a0, a1, a2, etc. up to infinity. And this is not a tridiagonal form. Okay, it's an upper triangular. After if you remove the first row, it becomes an upper triangular matrix. Okay, so this is the kind of matrix that we have. So solving these kind of problems, okay, that idea, that method is called matrix analytic method. And this Ramaswamy, Latouche, those people have investigated these ideas in detail, and certain other experts also, like some textbook are available of Kyu-Min Hye, Mr. Telek. Okay, so they have written in detail how to tackle these kind of problems in various aspects. All right, so kind of theoretical portions, and they have developed certain algorithms also to deal with these kind of problems. All right, yeah. So algorithms are available to find the steady state solutions of these kind of ng1 kind of problems. All right, so we use those problems are metrics, and we call such problems are matrix analytic methods. All right, okay. Now, yeah, just telling what are the research scope of this queuing theory. Yeah, this by this I think we can wind up the session. So the first thing, industrial queuing problems. There are various industrial problems that need the help of queuing theory scientists. All right, so how can we approach, or how can we deal with certain questions? So the first one, if there's a problem, because queuing theory is a vast area, because thousands of people have investigated various aspects of queuing theory. Still there are many many researchers working on it. Still, new models are coming out. All right, so industrial queuing problems. So we search for the existing model, because there are, as I mentioned, a lot of problems are uh, already set with every aspect of that in our library. In library, in the sense, in queuing theory library, it is there. Okay, so whatever you need, you just go there and pick it out. Okay, and when that industrial problem matches the exact model, the theoretical model that we have, you can take the data and simulate and validate with this one. So we have model. Okay, so that is the case of the existing model. Or there are certain other industrial queuing problems. Yeah, already even a slight variation, even very slight variation makes that problem different in the sense extremely different. Okay, So yeah, so there are a lot. There are many industrial such problems are there. You can design such problems. Already available problems are also there. So you model it all the available resources. And some of the ideas I have shared very just one or two ideas I've shared, but thousands and lakhs of ideas are there. Okay, so using any of these one, you can model it. Okay, and you can solve using any of the methods. That means in certain cases you can model it using, and you'll get the exact solution. In certain cases, developing algorithms is another way. Like you can develop an algorithm how to solve it. Probably every time exact solution may not be possible. But it's not easy when the dimension increases. All right, it may not be possible. So you can develop algorithms. All right, and the third part, the classical theoretical study of Q. Okay, there you can go for probability measure theory, especially probability measures in it. Okay, it's in today's morning session we have I think probabilistic metric spaces. So even in a particular queue, we have a space there, and we can define probability. I mean, it's a probability space. So think about it, and what are the scopes and all. Such kind of theoretical results are there, and linear functional analysis, and that is what there in this. I've shown you two algorithms. I mean, just one algorithm, and in that algorithm, actually, they have used this linear and functional analysis ideas. Certain norms are defined. Okay, certain spectral analysis have been analyzed. Okay, so such kind of things are also there, because the advantage is that, see, when we block the infinitesimal generator, you will get a set of matrices. Okay, so you are in a space of matrices. You are in a space of matrices. Okay, not just matrices, some special matrices. So that part, that speciality of that matrices is very important. Okay, this tridiagonal structure is one of that. Okay, and the NG1 structure is another one is that. So similarly, we have a different structure, GM1 structure, and that is a different structure. And Topolis matrix. So a lot of different kind of matrices are there. The study of that itself is a research area. Okay, so you can go for that. Okay, and numerical study of convergence. When you develop an algorithm, it's convergence. Most of the time, you need certain kind of functional analysis, because you are dealing with matrices, and matrices, algorithms, it's convergence. So definitely, all kind of theoretical aspects are there. And then probability theory. You can work on probability theory. Okay, so yeah. So let me conclude. I think we have it's 3:30. I think we can conclude. So yeah. So I'll conclude. Like I have introduced what is MMQ. How can such a queuing model be created? Okay, how that can be analyzed. Okay, and if we make a very small change in the classical MMM model, what happens is dimension it is applicable for us, and what are the methods to deal with such questions, and what are the current research areas and various problems where the areas where we can work on. Okay, yeah. So thank you all for your patience uh, and for your cooperation. I think I can wind up. Thank you.
Sir, we have opened the chat box so that
All right.
participants can post any questions they have.
Yeah, sure. Okay, let me see if there is any.
Participants, if you have any questions, you can post them in the chat box now.
All right. I couldn't find any problems here. Yeah, any question?
Yeah.
It's all right. Yeah.
Okay. So that was a great talk. On behalf of the STEP team and all the participants, I would like to thank Dr. Anup N. Nair for giving a great introduction to queuing theory and especially ideas about possible research in queuing theory. It was a pleasure hosting you here at RSET. Once again, we would like to wish you the very best and thank you for the great session. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. And I think there is a question here.
Oh.
Restaurant service quality have any possibility new research in that topic? Restaurant service quality. Yeah, definitely. It's a queue, right? So you have to analyze what kind of queue is there. What kind of queue? It may not be definitely when you consider all the aspects of a it is a big problem. Frankly telling you, it seems to be simple, but it's not. Okay, a lot of things has to be considered. So based on the model that you create, definitely you can make a possibility. And in the research area, what you can do is either you can focus a particular restaurant and you can explain what kind of queuing system is there and how you deal with that problem, and then you find a solution and you put forward. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, once again, thank you all. All right, so we can wind up then, right?
Okay, sir. We can
Okay.
wind up now. Thank you once again.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye.
Participants, please note that the last session of the STEP webinar series on stochastic process and mathematical modeling will be held tomorrow at 11 a.m. The session will be handled by Dr. Raju K. George. Please log in by 10:45 a.m.